'Cause We're Nerds, the show that covers trends and new releases in comics, movies, video games, board games, and much more. I'm your host, Caleb, and today we're diving into Twitch. What's the best way to get started? Who is it for? And how much do you need to invest? Find out on this week's episode of 'Cause We're Nerds. You know, I just realized in that opening, I said how much you need to invest. It sounded like how much you need to invest in the company. That's not what I meant. Yeah. I was definitely talking about like to get started, but that was really long to say. But anyway, today, guys, we have two new guests that have not. Well, one of them's been on the show before. Zach is not here today. He will be back in 2 weeks. He is off lifing again. That guy does too much life for me. So, first up, we have Chris from the CNC Power Hour.
Yeah, Caleb, thank you so much for having me back on. This time in the right timeline order.
Right, yeah, this is the next one coming out. In fact, we're actually recording this one pretty late. It's Tuesday, and this comes out Friday, and it's late at night, so we'll see how this turns out. And in addition to Chris, we also have Andy from the CNC Power Hour.
Hey, guys, yeah. I was hoping that you wouldn't say, thanks for having me back, because I was going to say the same thing. And they'll be like, oh, who was here? And they'll have to go back and listen to all the episodes. Come on, man. Right. Marketing.
Right. You do this in post, right? It's fine.
Oh, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here in the virtual world that is the 'Cause We're Nerds booth. Just to let you guys know, we're not trying new equipment. I don't know why I was going to say that. All of our equipment has been disassembled. My room in my house is a massive mess. I showed the guys earlier. I think they could see it. So I'm like working off a really janky setup. So if the audio sounds weird or something, I'm sorry. I'm going to try my best to make sure that it's great. But sometimes technology just does its own thing.
To be fair, we're also working on a pretty janky setup, but we put a lot of love into it.
A lot of love.
And it works for you guys, so, you know. So today we are here to talk about Twitch and basically the phrase, so you want to be a Twitch streamer, right? So you guys obviously stream on Twitch every week, so this is kind of your episode. So you just want to dive in?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, go for it.
Cool. So, Caleb, are you familiar with Twitch?
I mean, I get like these muscle spasms sometimes that kind of like do these weird things under my eye. Is that no? Oh.
Yeah, I mean, if that lasts longer than 4 hours, I think you need to get that medically checked out.
Yes, of course, I'm familiar with Twitch. I think most people are, but for the few that are not, what is it?
Yeah, so Twitch, it's a live streaming service, which basically it is a quick video and audio feed that has a chat component where you broadcast yourself on the internet and other people can interact with you via chat while they're watching you usually play video games. It started out as a very small company, ended up getting bought by Amazon, but they're not the only people that offer live streaming services. Facebook is a pretty popular one. YouTube as well also has a live streaming component. And Mixer does too, and Mixer's a really cool low latency one, which has, basically what that means is that there is next to no delay between, the people talking to the streamer and the streamer.
Mm-hmm. And Mixer is done by Microsoft. I think it used to be called Beam.
Yeah, back when they were first testing it out.
Yeah, and they rebranded it because Microsoft, you know, they've got great reputation in the tech world. All their stuff always works.
All the time.
Right. So, you guys, like I said at the opening, run the CNC Power Hour. Chris, what specifically do you do on the show?
What doesn't he do? That's the real question.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I don't do is art assets, right? And that's... Yeah. I guess I do those every once in a while, but, so a lot of the stuff that we do, ours is extremely involved, but I do a lot of the setup. So cameras, Sound is a big thing that I've been working on for quite a while.
It's hard.
It's tough.
As someone that does a primarily sound-based show, it is very difficult.
Right. And any other programs that we need? Because, like I said, ours is extremely involved. Streaming regular Magic the Gathering, which is our big production on Sundays. The way that we do it, it involves a bunch of cameras, some extra software, and so I make sure that all of that runs smoothly, and I schedule who's going to be there and what we're going to be doing. But on a smaller note, whenever we play video games, which is the simplest thing, the only 3 things that I have to work on are the game, making sure it looks good and sounds good, and us making sure we look good and sound good, and making sure we go live on time.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, I'll jump in. One of the great things about
Andy,
Christian
I didn't ask you yet.
Oh. No.
No, I'm just kidding. Go for it.
He's praising me. I don't get this often enough.
Yeah, I don't give him compliments, so this is rare.
The fact that this is getting recorded, this is the best.
Scratch that. No, let's go back.
This episode is just going to get destroyed, and we'll never be able to put it out or something.
Oh, no. No, it's great because, I've been in the video production world, and for Christian to come in and kind of take over a lot of that, whether I'm out on a Sunday or, even if I'm still here, he's helping me out and being able to have basically the tag team duo of the 2 of us to get things done. It's super helpful. So like he was saying, like we have a super complicated setup, even right now we've got 2 microphones. Well, we've got a microphone and you've got a microphone. But that's nothing compared to, what we've got on a Sunday. We've got 4 microphones. What do we got? 7 cameras at last count?
Yeah,
8?
7 cameras on average.
Yeah. And just getting those coordinated and getting them all white balanced and, color corrected and making sure everything looks good. Because, one of the things that we strive for is the high quality, but, we still have that kind of homemade feel because we want people to be able to relate to us. So,
have you guys ever thought about doing a tour of your area?
I think we did an impromptu one once when our entire stream went down on the 4th of July.
Oh, yeah. No.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. It was an outlet problem. I think the outlet just kind of exploded, and so we had to figure something out in 20 minutes and get all the systems back up. But
yeah, our computer just completely shut down. Even though it's on battery backup, I think it was so overloaded with how much stuff we've got plugged into the battery backup. And then the great thing about the Twitch app on the phone is that you can stream live. And so we did that real quick, and it was like, all right, here's our studio. Here's what you guys see. Here's what we see. But yeah, we definitely want to do a more in-depth one and even do like a CNC power hour, tech hour or something like that, just to show off what we've got. Because we put a lot of time and money into this, and we're proud of it because it works really well.
You guys should be. I mean, it looks really great, and I've been in the studio several times, and even though it's not like a professional studio, it's very, very impressive. We had Chris, what did we call him? Ward. We had Ward on the show a couple weeks ago for the Canon episode, and he was like enthralled with all of it. So you guys have done a great job. Andy, you sound like you do a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. Is that right?
Yeah. So one of the things I helped out with is basically develop our visual identity. We talked a little bit about what we wanted it to look like, and I mentioned the kind of homemade feel. All of our graphics are hand drawn by the wonderful Sam, who he's put together some tokens for us for the Magic cards, and he helped kind of perfect the logo, take it from my simple I'm not an artist kind of drawing to something that actually looks pretty good. And even from there, getting our graphics set up every week and make sure the logos are good and everything looks perfect because I'm a perfectionist. So I do a lot of the visual stuff, and I'm here if I'm not on camera, I'm helping. I'm doing the techman basically, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Right. And I mean, Andy did all the lighting, all the electrical wiring in the studio.
Yeah.
It turned out really, really well because we're doing it out of a half unfinished basement, and which let us basically do whatever we needed to.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely perfect. But Andy really outdid himself with the help of Joker, one of our good friends, or Eric, one of our good friends, who convinced us to move out of our small studio into our current one.
Yeah.
And he has helped like really standardize what we're doing. And
I remember thinking back a year ago when we were starting, and how every Sunday was it felt like we were setting up for the first time. And now it's like, we don't really have to do a whole lot now because everything's kind of set in its place, and we've got plenty of space, it's great. So just getting to that place, again, making sure the lights look good and the cameras look good. That's my forte.
Awesome. Well, you guys should definitely be proud of that. It does look fantastic. But if you're just a starting streamer, you really don't need all that stuff to get started. Really, you just need, maybe just a console if you're streaming directly from your console, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are a bunch of ways to do it. Both Xbox One and PlayStation 4 have built-in Twitch apps. You can download Twitch apps and stream directly from the console using your gameplay feed and a microphone. You don't even need a camera, although they do have webcam support. But on PC as well, again, it's just, a particular set of software. The two main ones are Open Broadcast Studio and XSplit. We use Open Broadcast Studio because it has a lot of customization that XSplit doesn't have, but XSplit they both have their pros and cons. We've tried them both. So you just need that streaming software and whatever game you intend to play, and usually a microphone. Oftentimes you kind of want to have a camera because it adds an extra layer of interpersonal relationship with you and your audience.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff, to get the good stuff, you could spend thousands of dollars, or you could possibly spend maybe $100 tops.
Yeah. I was going to say next to nothing because, nowadays everybody's laptop has a camera and a microphone built in. So, you got students that are, obviously doing homework, but, playing some games on the side because you can play Fortnite on some laptops nowadays. And, people want to stream that, and it's super easy. Just, you get the software running on the side, and you can pretty much run that from a laptop. I mean, you might have to have your graphics settings on low, but, point being is that you can do it with almost next to nothing. So, and you can even stream from your phone if you didn't want to use your computer for that.
Really? You can stream from your phone?
Won't be able to get you won't be able to get the video game feed perfectly, but, if you really wanted to, and you were, you really wanted to stream what you're playing,
set it up on a shelf and just let it go.
Exactly. Yeah. There are options.
Hey, I mean, if it works, it works. You don't want to let the technology be the thing that keeps you from getting into it. Exactly.
Coming from the photography world, that's something that we're taught early on is like, it doesn't matter what camera you have. It doesn't matter what lens you have. It's all about your personality. It's all about what the vision that you want to cast and the image that you want to portray. If you want to be that silly, I got my phone on a shelf, like, own it. That's the important part. Own what you've got, and make the best of it for sure.
Right. And, even if you do decide to buy a little bit of tech, you will get 90% of the way there with under $100.
Absolutely.
The best you could possibly stream, assuming that your equipment or your whatever you're running the game on can run the game well. The webcam, the microphone, $80 tops, right? Like for both of those together, and that's high definition. That's good audio. You're pretty much set there. So even though streamers can spend thousands of dollars, like we have over the past year, you don't have to, especially when you're just starting out.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's very encouraging for people coming into this thinking that they might want to do it. But if they're not sure if they want to do it or not, what makes streaming on Twitch cooler, better, more interesting than just, like making a YouTube video and putting that on YouTube?
So the main draw is really the back and forth that you get with other people, just random people from the internet. ideally, you're friends at first, but people will eventually find you, depending on what game you're playing, because especially if you play like a niche game, or you do something that other people aren't doing, which there's like a craft section, where people sew for, cosplay stuff, or just, daily life stuff. There are other sections where people just build little engineering projects. There's this one streamer who, improvises songs based on the usernames of people in his chat.
That's
and
amazing.
So, like, it doesn't, it's pretty nuts. So people will find you based on what you're doing, and not everybody will say hi, but those that do, usually are there to really engage with you, kind of just have like a friendly chat. Occasionally you get trolls or people that are there to antagonize you. But not all of them are, and the ones that are, you can ban. You have some control over that. But the main thing is, having a conversation with people that like things that you like without having to go anywhere, seek them out. They kind of come to you. Because you're providing a service that they want. They want to see this game played, they want to see this thing happen. You're doing that for them. And on top of that, they get to have some input, some back and forth, some laughs. It's kind of a win-win for everybody.
I agree. The best part is, we've got, I was just looking at our numbers, we've got 97 subscribers currently, or not subscribers, followers currently. And I would say, proportionally, it's, the ratio is a little weird because you get followers, but you don't necessarily get viewers every time. Same thing with, YouTube subscribers. But we've got several people that come back like week to week, and it's great because it's like you recognize them and you continue the story that you're having, the conversation that you're having with them last time. And it's just, that's the best part. We've got 97 new friends.
Right, exactly. And they're not even all of them are in the US, right? They're not all nearby. One of our most regular viewers is from Brazil, which is absolutely insane to us. But he's a great guy. He's fun to have in chat. We have a good back and forth.
Yeah, we were talking about soccer this past Sunday because he noticed the shirt I was wearing. So just outside of it's little things outside of what we're actually doing. Like suddenly we have a whole new community of people that are and we can hang out with outside of me and Christian hanging out with one another. It's kind of boring.
Ouch.
Speak for yourself. Ouch. Jeez.
Yeah, no, I get that. Because, we record our episodes and then we put them up and then it's out there if someone wants to listen. And if not, we keep going on. It's a little disjointed from the community, especially if you don't have a lot of people emailing in or tweeting you or whatever. It's kind of hard to know. But when you are on a stream like that and someone jumps on, you're right. You're getting direct feedback a lot of the times, even if they don't necessarily say anything because they're staying on the stream or they're not staying on the stream.
Right.
But yeah, that's really awesome. And I think if you look at all the different types of entertainment that you can do on a computer, that is one of the few that you can get that kind of experience from. I guess playing video games themselves, like if you're on like a Fortnite or something with a whole bunch of other people, you can kind of get that, but it's not really the same thing, I don't think.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of games have their own built-in communities, but once you step outside of that game, those communities cease to exist, right? So, Twitch in particular, it lets people, you don't have to stream one thing. You can, and a lot of people do if they're really, really good at it, or they really enjoy what they're doing. But people can come in and you can switch games and, have a conversation with a completely different set of people or introduce the people that you have been streaming to something that they may like.
Mm-hmm.
The possibilities are endless. You really are just hanging out with a bunch of people while you're doing something that you love.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's the most exciting thing is like, all right, we're going to do this anyways. We're going to play Magic anyways. Like, well, you might as well just have some folks like hang out with us. It's fun having an audience. I was an actor in high school, so just being on stage, basically. Same thing, yeah. It was in theater and stuff. But,
cool.
Same idea.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, that's, I think you guys are onto something with that. And I mean, clearly you guys have been doing this for a year. You've kind of got your feet wet with it. You know what you're doing. And so I think that, I don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore, guys. It's been a long day. Sorry to our listeners if I'm not completely with it. All right. So, if you are looking to actually start streaming, actually get into this, before you make that final decision, you really need to kind of take a step back and examine why you want to do this to begin with, what your goals are, how long you plan to do this, what you plan to do, because otherwise things can kind of get out of hand and you can get burned out, and it can be a real problem, right?
Yeah, I would say, we had some good conversations to begin with about, what we wanted to do, what we wanted everything to look like, and how we wanted to go about doing it. Because we of course, nobody wants to fail. That's like, the thing that you don't want to have happen. And so, we had a lot of conversations, like I said, about exactly how the format was going to look. Even before we started, we had planned out a few months just to know, all right, what is this actually going to look like? What's it going to feel like? We had some test shows and, just to feel like what an episode would feel like. And even, to be candid, an original idea that we had was the Power Hour is actually a podcast. And knowing, we did a test episode and realized that, maybe we should revisit this at another time because we didn't really know exactly how to go about doing it and doing it in a way that would put a positive spin on the topics that we wanted to cover. I don't know if you want to add anything about that.
Yeah, so it had been an idea that we had been brewing for a long time. About 2 years before we actually 2 or 3 years, sat down and started. Before we actually sat down and realized that we had the potential and a surprising amount of the equipment to be able to do what we wanted to do. And so when it comes to Twitch, there are thousands of people streaming, 10 times as many people watching. The problem is that popular games kind of get oversaturated, and so you kind of have to figure out what you want to do, whether or not you want to start with something niche and grow your community from there, or if you just want to play your game and have other people watch you if they stumble upon it. That is great too. The thing is that you have to understand that, especially in the beginning, unless you are... Actually, I'm going to go so far as to say, even if you are actively participating in social media and the communities based around your game, you're probably going to have 0 other viewers than yourself. Mm-hmm. Which can be kind of discouraging, to be honest, because even now for us, we have some regular viewers, but there are nights or days where we have nobody joining us, but we're still doing it, right? We're still trucking.
Yeah, and coming from our side of it too, I mean, I think that's something that happens across the board whenever you're creating content, because we have the same thing going on. Sometimes we put out an episode on a hot topic or something, and it gets a whole lot of downloads and listens. And sometimes we put out something that we think is really cool, and it's like, well, nobody really wanted to listen to that. But the thing that you have to do to get through that is make sure that you're doing it because you want to. Make sure that, you're having fun while you're doing it, and it's not just becoming another job.
Right. And that's the most important thing for us. And really, anybody that wants to do this, if you're in it for money or fame, those are not guaranteed. You may as well have fun with it while you're doing it. And if you're passionate about it, if your audience likes what you're putting out, then those other things will kind of fall into line later on down the road, depending on how hard you work. Some people get lucky, some people get unlucky, right? And even if they put in the same amount of time or more than the top streamers that are making a bunch of money, they may not make anything. But at that point, you kind of have to ask yourself, is this really what I want to be doing? Am I still enjoying it, right? And if you're not, then you don't have to do it. You're not beholden to anybody but yourself, right? You answer to you whenever it comes to streaming.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, also, you will hit those rough patches. And when you do, you kind of have to evaluate if, like I said, if you're getting burnt out on it and you don't want to do it anymore, or if it is just one of those rough patches and you need to push through. Because we're not advocating stopping the first time it gets hard, because it starts hard.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if there's a point where it gets easy. There are points where you get used to part of the routine and that makes certain things easier. But just being a content producer is tough. It doesn't matter what type of content you produce. You're putting yourself out there in a vulnerable state, right? You're saying, hey, I did this. I want you guys to like it. And if nobody likes it, then that sucks. But if you still like doing it, that's what really matters to you. You should definitely just keep doing it. If the time investment or the money investment isn't detrimental to you, keep going. No reason to stop.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that's been so good for us is that, like I said, we're doing what we love to do, playing Magic, as silly as it is. Or, when Christian and Gabe stream throughout the week, Saturday nights, they're doing what they want to do. They're playing a video game that's silly and fun, and usually it's something old school. But I think starting with that vision of we're a group of friends, committed to just having fun on stream and being ourselves and not trying to put on a show necessarily. I mean, yeah, we do exaggerate our personalities just a little bit just to, to make sure we get the extra laugh or something like that. But even then, I would say, like, we're absolutely 100% genuine in our silliness, our comedy. It's like, that's the best. Yeah, our anger, our saltiness. Whoops. And I think that's to me, that's what I want to see when I'm watching a stream. And I think that's important too, is just, think about what you want to see and create that content. Create content that you love. And this goes for any content creator out there. Do something that you love, do something that you have fun with, and just keep going no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as someone that has known Chris for, oh man, how many years now? Like
at least 10.
10? You guys are completely yourselves on camera. And Andy, I've known you for, I don't know,
4
or 5 years.
4. What year is it?
It's the future. It's
5.
Is it 5?
6, 2012?
No, 13.
13. Okay, yeah. 5 years.
Okay, yeah. So, it's taken you guys a while to get there, because we actually talked about doing something kind of like that. It started with the podcast years ago, and then I know you guys continued talking about it when we stopped talking about it. But getting that, it's not really confidence. I guess just deciding you're going to do it is half the battle when you decide to do something like this, which is to be expected, I think. But also, we've been talking about video games, and we've been talking about Magic and things like that. And you mentioned there's a craft section, but you can stream what on Twitch? Are there any limits to what you can stream?
So there's a terms of service that lists what you can and cannot stream, but it's basically no lewd content.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean family friendly, because there are a bunch of mature channels, because, video games can be bloody or violent, whatever.
Sure.
But you can kind of stream anything. They actually, after a couple of years, they created a miscellaneous, IRL section that they're kind of doing away now. I think they're splitting it up, or they're merging it with the crafting section. I'm not entirely sure what's going to come out of that. But you can, if you can get a camera set up for it, and you think people will watch it, you can stream it. There are people that stream themselves eating.
Yeah.
Which is surprisingly popular.
Okay.
It's, it depends on what's going on, but sometimes they're like these giant, massive meals that take hours to finish or whatever. And so
like a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are people that do ASMR videos, which is just kind of like sensory manipulation.
Yeah.
I guess is the best
I almost reached out to the microphone. I was like, no, it's a terrible idea.
Yeah, please don't. And there are people that stream, games that they just want to play, games that they're really good at. There are people that organize tournaments, which I guess technically that's what we do, but they do it on a much bigger scale. And not even that, there are companies that do this stuff, right? Because there's esports that is their primary delivery method of their content is Twitch. Overwatch League, Dota events, the League of Legends streams, like all of those are huge events and they draw hundreds of thousands of people over the course of a weekend. And they kind of just, they didn't figure out that people would want to watch that until they tried it.
Right. It's kind of the thing where you have to try it first, and if it fails, then try something else.
Right. Or try it again, but slightly different, Mm-hmm. There are people that I've seen people stream road trips. If you can get a cell phone, what are they called? Mobile hotspots that work all the way over your trip. Like,
is that stream
like
good?
That.
I feel like that would be like really low quality and jittery and stuff.
Dedicated hotspots, not really. I mean, you can lower the quality down to 480p, 720p. It doesn't have to be high definition. Just enough to make it smooth and that people can see what you're doing.
Huh. That's interesting. I never thought about that. So we've talked a little bit about kind of what to expect. You talked about how, you're going to not have any views when you first start out just by the virtue of what you're doing. And you mentioned kind of chat trolls, but can you talk about a little bit more in depth when you start this, when you actually sit down and you have the camera and you start your first stream, and then the next week you do your next one, or the next day, or however long, what you actually should expect from that experience?
A lot of talking to yourself. That's one of the big things, and that's actually something that they talk a lot on like any beginner videos or other articles on how to get started. Silence is your own worst enemy. So what you're going to want to do a lot is describe what you're doing as you're doing it. Maybe, make fun commentary about whatever you're doing. Or, pretend there's someone in chat and ask them, what do you think about this? Should I do this? Sometimes talking to yourself, when you're on stream isn't actually that strange.
Yeah, because you're kind of walking yourself through it and, talking out loud, thinking out loud, and I think that's important. It's for one, just practice for when you actually do get people watching you, because you're already used to talking and asking these questions. You're already focusing more attention on the game than you probably would have if you were just, mindlessly playing it. Because, oftentimes when I'm playing a game, what do I have on my second screen is somebody streaming something or a YouTube video or something like that. So, suddenly you become that YouTube video. Suddenly you become that Twitch stream that you used to watch. So now you have to focus more intently on what you're doing, what you're playing. And, sometimes, personally you even get more out of the game in that way.
Yeah, that seems like a very specific skill that you kind of have to develop. How long did it take you guys to develop that skill?
Well, I don't think it's physically possible for me to not talk.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Have you met me?
But to be comfortable with other people hearing my internal dialogue, like that took a little bit because, not everything that you think is a complete thought, and the easiest way to get comfortable with it is to just say the first couple of things that come to your mind and just run with it, right? So building up that confidence over repetition, like that was kind of tough. Thankfully, there was nobody else there to watch at the time. But you kind of want to find something to facilitate that. Like the games that we started out with, like Magic in particular, is a game of decisions. And so that's fun to discuss your options, your choices. The other games that we stream, in particular the Persona series, which we started with Persona 3 when we launched back in July of last year, that game has a bunch of wacky situations, and so there's a lot for us to talk about. That really helps build up that skill that you would otherwise kind of have to force on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can find something to help you do that, then that's great.
Is that something that you would suggest practicing before you start, or just starting and going for it?
Starting and going for it, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's the best way to do it. And that's how we did it. With our practice streams, we literally just went live one evening in April, like 3 months before we actually launched, and, did everything that we normally would have done and practiced. And, I had some friends watching just to make sure that everything that we were doing was okay, and, made sure that they knew, or that they knew that they could give us complete and honest feedback. So, even streaming for your friends is like the best way to start out.
Yeah. And I will say, again, as someone that creates content, having friends that are going to help you out and listen. I mean, both of you guys listened when we first started. That's fantastic. Just make sure you're not like overloading them and forcing them to watch or listen or whatever. That's not cool. That's not being a cool friend. That's going to push them away.
Yeah.
Don't do that. We didn't do that,
right.
Just to be clear, but
no.
No. It was actually the other way. I could not stop myself post-episode talking to Caleb about what he said wrong.
That's true.
It was just a bunch of it was just essays of text of you missed this, you didn't talk about this detail, whatever. But it kind of helped. I'd like to think that it helped push you in a particular direction one way or another.
Well, I'm sure it did.
Either. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, all feedback always helps, even if it's bad feedback. But your feedback was good, so, all right, so some people make money off this stuff. Like, some people...
They do?
You're right. Some people...
We made $4 off of this so far?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think we're up to $9, actually.
$9.
It's more,
awesome.
it's more than I've made, so... So yeah, some people that's their job. They get up in the morning and they stream until 9 o'clock at night, and they go to bed and they get up and they do it all over again. Talk about that. Talk about how that works, the limitations of it, the benefits of it, and just all that stuff.
So, man, there are so many people that can do it and do, and there are also so many people that try to do it and don't quite get there. It's actually really interesting that there are a bunch of small streamers that no one knows, no one pays attention to. But Twitch in particular has what's called the affiliate program, and it's a program for people that are kind of rising in the ranks to be able to start earning money so that they can actually invest even more time into it and hopefully reach the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Super Saiyan 3.
And, well, yeah. So that helps a lot because it gives you an income stream, which Twitch's primary income stream is subscriptions. Basically, you reach a certain level, you reach the affiliate level on Twitch, and people can give you $5 a month because they like your content and they want to support you. You end up seeing about $3 of that after Twitch takes their cut. But, that adds up,
Is that per month?
People a month is, yeah. The payout system is like once every 100 days or whatever, but
yeah.
The math is you have 100 people that are subscribed to you. That's $300 a month. I mean, that's not enough to live on, but that's enough to get new equipment. That's enough to, kind of let you take, an extra day off work or whatever to stream even more.
Or offset your costs.
Right. Yeah. Offset your initial investment costs too. That's exactly right. And, so there are a bunch of small streamers out there that aren't getting anything. There are a bunch of affiliates out there that are getting, they have an average of 20 viewers. Viewers are a big metric for Twitch. Viewer numbers. So you can hop onto a stream of a single person doing something, and they can have anywhere between, 0 to thousands.
Tens of thousands.
Yeah, tens of thousands. And that viewer metric is a good kind of ballpark to figure out what someone is making. So if they've got about 20 viewers and they are an affiliate, they might be making max $1,000 a month. Which, $12,000 a year in extra income is pretty good, right? And that's not just from Twitch. A lot of these people that are actually making a living off of it have other income streams, which you can pursue even before you hit that affiliate level. So there are places like Patreon where you can come up with your own subscription tiers and exactly what you want to offer your viewers. There's you can ask for donations, which people will donate, especially if you have like a particular goal, like you want to go to a tournament on the other side of the country. People want you to go to be able to compete and see you, like, hopefully, win the tournament. They'll put money towards that, right? And on top of that, there's sponsorships that you can get if you're good enough. All of that, plus creating your own brand and merchandising and marketing yourself, that can get you, I think the biggest number I've seen is about $500,000 a year.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's not bad. But people that are doing that they're working 60, 70 hours a week. It's not easy.
I was saying probably more than that, because they're probably, streaming from waking up to going to bed almost. And maybe a couple of hours in between, but you think about how many hours a day and days a week, and that's a lot of time that you're spending playing video games and, not a whole lot of time for other things necessarily.
And being on.
Yeah,
it's a lot of time that you're being on.
Yeah.
Which, if you're not familiar with like that kind of description, it just means you are doing your best to entertain other people. You're being outgoing, and that can be kind of exhausting after, even just a couple of hours.
For sure. I mean, I mentioned being an actor, like that's exactly the same feeling, that same adrenaline rush of being on camera and performing. Like, it's the same idea. I can't even imagine doing that for 12 hours in a day, but people do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be one of those people.
Yeah, it's hard work, but I mean, if you can get to the point where you're making, $100,000 a year. So there's a particular article that I was reading that actually, like, in depth did a breakdown of this streamer by the name of Destiny. So I went to check his channel right before we started. He has 3,000 people watching him as we're doing this podcast. He's live for about 60 hours a week. That doesn't count for any YouTube editing he's doing, any shipping, like marketing stuff that he's doing, any merchandise stuff that he's doing. That's all just on camera, right? And so there's probably another 20 hours in that stuff alone. But doing all of that, from Twitch ads, he makes about $1,000 a month. From donations, he makes another $1,500. From Twitch subscriptions, $5,000 a month. From his marketing and affiliate programs, $1,200 a month. Like, he is busting his butt and coming out with $8,700 a month at least, right? And a lot of people like that got in on the ground floor and started doing this early, because the article I was reading was from 3 years ago. That's what he was pulling 3 years ago. Which I don't know if it's gone up. I don't know if it's gone down. But people that were able to get in early are usually the ones that you see that are topping whatever game that they're playing, whatever they're doing, because they're the most popular, because they've been around the longest. That doesn't mean that you can't start now and get to a point where you're net positive making money on this, right? It just means that to get to where they're at, you're going to have to work that much harder.
I thought you were going to say something after you said that.
Yeah. I didn't think I was. And then there was enough silence that I was like, oh crap, I have to figure out something else to add to that.
That's like the most, a little peek behind the curtains. That's like the hardest thing, I think, with this, because we record every week remotely, right? And so you guys are not sitting in front of me. And so, like, the hardest thing to judge is, wait, was that the last thing they were going to say? Should I respond now, or should I wait? I don't know. I guess it's a skill, but it's hard.
To be fair, full disclosure, the reason we're not sitting in front of you is because you didn't want to come down here.
That's not true at all. We didn't talk about that.
That isn't true. We didn't even talk about that. I'm sorry.
Trying to make me look bad.
There was a bus and Caleb just went right under it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Chris was driving.
Yeah, it was a double decker.
Yeah, I was drifting around corners and Caleb just got...
So you mentioned merchandise. How can merchandising play into Twitch streaming? Because, I mean, streaming, you're just throwing up a video for people to watch. What is the merchandising piece of that?
It's like a double-edged sword. So part of it, you think about somebody wearing a T-shirt of something that you recognize. Like, it's great because you're seeing. I say double-edged sword. I think it's more of a two-pronged sword. It was like Halo sword,
like an olive fork.
Like an olive fork. It's like an olive fork.
Oh, okay.
You got one prong that's one, you're making money off of selling shirts. Two, people are seeing those shirts and being like, "Oh, what is that? I want to check that out." It's the same reason that Twitch comes out with their shirts and stuff like that and their merchandise. Because it's like people see it and suddenly, oh, it looks great. I want to get a shirt like that. And then you're marketing for yourself or you're having them market for you.
Right. It's all about building a brand when it comes to this sort of stuff because you can create products that not even necessarily shirts, like cards. Like we have tokens that aren't for sale. The original plan was for them to be for sale. You can have T-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, pins, anything you can think of that people that watch your stream, if they want to have like a permanent reminder of a particular like long-running joke, a particular achievement of yours, a particular achievement of theirs, because sometimes chat can kind of like help participate in one of your games.
Help in the brand creation.
Yeah.
I mean, your chat is sometimes your brand. It's your show.
Do you guys have any merchandise right now?
We have a shirt that your lovely wife made.
But none for sale.
It's not for sale.
I was going to say, there's only one of them.
There's only one of them.
Hey, that could be for sale someday.
You should put that out for rent. Like, you get it one day and then just pass it on to the next person.
Yeah, I'll have to give them the washing instructions.
Right. We don't have any merch right now either. But hey, if you would like to see Cuz We're Nerds merch, let us know. Send us an email, cuzwe'renerds@gmail.com. Plug.
Yeah. So, like, you can have all sorts of stuff to just kind of put yourself out there in the world. You can also have marketing affiliate programs where, kind of like you work with a company like Card Kingdom is a really, really big one in the Magic community. They're a great online Magic store that ships anywhere, at least in the US and Canada. And whenever there's a content provider that they like, they reach out to them and say, hey, we kind of want to sponsor you guys. If you have people buy from our website, we'll give you X% of it.
Yeah, I know Amazon's got a program like that.
Exactly. And so that's another way to kind of get yourself out there in the community of people that you are interacting with or hope to interact with. And that's one of the main things about growing on Twitch is finding a community that you like, that you want to spend time in, and doing your best to make yourself as visible and interactive as possible.
Right. Now, all of this said, we were talking before the show, you really want to emphasize that of all the people that do this, very, very few people actually make much money off of it or even like enough money to offset their costs, right?
Yeah, I think the number is like the top 1% of streamers are the ones that are like making a positive living, like more than what they could doing a normal job.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So that is tough to beat because, there's a lot of other people out there that are probably trying to get to the same goal that you are, right? So you kind of have to set that expectation that if that is your end goal, you have to understand the risks that you're taking on and how much you're going to have to work for that, and the fact that it may not even ever happen, no matter how much work you put in. It's like any other business. You are building yourself as a brand, or you and your team, in our case, as a brand. And you kind of have to do your best to make that work for you. And if it doesn't, sometimes it just doesn't.
Yeah, sometimes life is hard, but hey, you can always try the next thing and see if that works out. All right, so we are coming to a close with this conversation. Do you guys have any closing thoughts?
I don't think I do.
I mean...
Let me think about that thought.
Yeah, it's just kind of... I really want to reemphasize, do this for fun. Yeah. And if you enjoy it, do it. It's like any other hobby. And in fact, it has enhanced a lot of my Magic and my video game playing. Not saying that I am a good video game player, because I'm an actively bad video game player.
Purposefully, I think.
Sure. But it has brought some more enjoyment out of those games that I probably wouldn't have gotten. It has also made me, especially when it comes to Magic, I critically think through a lot more things whenever I play in a different way. And I enjoy the game more for that, because I can see how much more deeper the game is, how many different things there are to talk about it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can find something like that you're really passionate about, just do it. Don't let your dreams be memes.
Dreams be memes.
Are you guys open to people contacting you if they have questions about starting to stream?
Yeah, 100%. So you can actually direct message us on Twitch. We have also set up a Discord server where you can reach me at. I actively monitor that. And
I have it too.
Yeah.
CNC Power Hour.
Yeah. And you can also send an email to admin@cncpowerhour.com. Yeah, thank you. And we will definitely be sure to answer any questions you have. Any tech questions, I'm more than happy to answer. I have spent a lot of time, and if I can help you not spend that time, my time will have been worth it.
Awesome. And on our side, I know we're talking about Twitch and streaming, but for podcasting, if anybody has any questions, you can always feel free to reach out to us at 'Cause We're Nerds. Or if you would actually like to see an episode on getting started podcasting, let us know. Send us an email at causewenerds@gmail.com or Facebook or Twitter. Any of those ways, we will see it. And if we get enough response, maybe we'll do one of those. All right, guys. That was that. This is this. It's time for What You Been Up To.
Yeah, Andy.
Why'd you gotta start with me?
Panic attack.
Oh, man.
Or
okay.
panic juice.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier, and it's like, I've been doing some other things, not necessarily nerdy things. I've been doing a lot of photography lately. I actually went out yesterday around Atlanta and took some photos. Man, that was invigorating. So speaking of things you love, if you don't practice it, you're not going to get good at it. So practice what you're good at. That's what I got.
Or practice something you're bad at so you can get good at it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, and it's actually really, really cool that you went out. Atlanta's a beautiful city.
Oh, yeah.
You don't really hear that enough, but I'm always kind of impressed with this place. Yeah. Are you going to be uploading those photos anywhere?
Yeah, I've got them on my Instagram, Andy Berry, because that's just who I am. If you're familiar with the show, The Walking Dead,
that should be your catchphrase. That's just who I am.
That's just who I am. Yeah, no, if you follow The Walking Dead, there's a famous shot from, I think it's probably the first episode where, what's his name?
Rick
is riding on a horse into town, and you see all the cars on the highway, and it's perfectly framed. You see downtown, that's exactly where we were. It's called the Jackson Street Bridge, famous shot in Atlanta, and it's pretty incredible, especially if you go at the golden hour, which is right around 7:30 right now. And I wish I could just show you the picture that I'm looking at right now. It's pretty incredible. Just the sun was set perfectly, and that's one of my favorite shots of the city.
Chris, can you rate that photo for me?
11 out of 10. Maybe 10 out of 10 with race. The rice doesn't necessarily make things better.
Is it fried rice or white rice? Brown rice? Basmati rice? What are the other rices?
Boxed rice? Fresh rice.
Uncle Ben's microwavable rice. Oh, thanks,
Uncooked
man.
rice.
Just rice. No, this is actually a legitimately great shot.
You can make this the cover photo for the podcast episode or something like that. I don't know if you can do that, but
yeah, I can.
Well, you can also put it in the description.
But it has to be like a square. Yeah. Send me a link and I'll put it in the description and everybody can check that out. And is that going to be on your Instagram?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram.
Yeah, cool.
My Instagram's public.
Awesome. Mine's not. We have a Cuz We're Nerds one. That's the public one.
Ooh.
Gotcha.
Maybe I'll post it to CNC just for fun.
Yeah. Go for it.
On the non-existent CNC Power Instagram that we have.
Well, I mean, by the time this airs, we might have one.
Yeah, we better. Otherwise, somebody's going to snatch it up and we're going to have to buy it for like $500.
Yeah, that's true.
Although,
Caleb, don't get any ideas.
I'll be right back. I'm going to go create our Instagram.
Well, no, that was actually one of the things when we started. We checked everything when we were picking our name because we thought of a few. Like one of my favorite names was the Wayward Nerd, but there's already at least like 2 other things like that, and they've taken everything. So that's actually a good point. If you're planning on doing Twitch as a job, make sure that you research your name and check all your socials because that's very important, and you probably won't think of it when you're choosing your name. But anyway,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Caleb, what you been up to? Sorry, I screwed it up again. Whatcha been up to?
There you go. How many times is it going to take?
How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? It's going to be a while.
Let's see. What have I been doing? Well, I've been very busy. As I said earlier, my room is in disarray because I was moving things and painting and doing all stuff. So that took up my entire weekend. So I didn't really have any time to do stuff. Except last week after work, I had some time to play video games. And I have jumped back into Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Now, Chris, you are playing through the Kingdom Hearts games, but you haven't gotten here yet, right?
Not even close. I'm actually still not done with 1. I've taken a long break.
Okay. So, as far as I am aware, this is the newest full game in the chronology of Kingdom Hearts, which is very confusing. But
yes,
I started it. I think I talked about it on the show, and it had some weird mechanics that I wasn't sure if I liked. Like there's this weird Pokemon sort of mechanic where you can create these little monsters and then they fight with you, and then you can like use their powers. It's a thing. And then it also forces you to like drop out with another character every once in a while. Like it's got a set amount of time, and you can't stop it. So like earlier, I was trying to get to a save point so I could come to do this episode, and it dropped me out to the other character, and I never got to a save point. So I just had to leave it sitting there paused. Stuff like that, I wasn't sure if I liked. Going back into it, though, and really giving it a chance this time, it's grown on me a lot, and I have discovered this is my trend with Kingdom Hearts games. I go into it, I don't like it, I think that they've done something too weird, too out there. I leave it for a while, I come back, and I'm like, no, this is actually really, really good. So I don't know if that's an issue with me or the games.
Mm-hmm. It might be an expectation things, right? Because sometimes when you play a sequel, you expect it to be at least mostly similar to the original, right?
Well, the weird thing with Kingdom Hearts is most of them are spin-offs. Even though that's not really a good word. They're spin-offs because they're not on the main consoles and they don't have numbers in their names. But they are all incredibly important to the story. And if you skip any of them, you're going to be confused when you play the next one. And the only 2 that are really super similar in their combat, I think, are Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2. All the others, like, introduce some weird new mechanic. Some of them stick, some of them don't. It's just something they do. And so I'm a little worried for Kingdom Hearts 3 in January. I'm like, what weird thing are they going to put in there that's going to bug me until I get used to it? And then I'm going to be upset when it's gone, and, you know, that whole thing. But it's really good.
Well, the interesting thing with these games in particular, the non-numbered Kingdom Hearts games, is that each one of the ones that you've been playing and that they've released have all been on different consoles. except for 356 divided by 2 and Dream Drop Distance. Those were both on the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
But Chain of Memories was originally on the Game Boy Advance, and what's the other one that was on the PSP? The one with Aqua and
Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, that one was on the PSP. And so, these are radically different consoles, so they kind of reinvented the combat system each time.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily in the best way,
right?
But they try to do interesting things with it.
Yeah. That being said, I like this one a lot. It's probably the best representation I've gotten so far of what a modern Kingdom Hearts game can be. Because even though I'm playing all of them on the PS4, they're all remasters of various old games, and so they haven't looked the best. This one looks almost current gen, actually. And it's getting me really excited for Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm liking the look, I'm liking the combat, I'm liking the new worlds it's sending me to. I got to go to the Hunchback of Notre Dame, which I hadn't been to before, because let me tell you, I am so sick of The Little Mermaid.
Gotta love underwater levels.
It's not even that, it's just the same worlds over and over. Just not cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, definitely check that out if you get a chance. Chris, what you been up to?
Sup? So, I've been doing a lot of stuff for our stream, just kind of eking out the last little percentage points of the equipment that we have, trying to make it that much better. But recently, I sat down and I watched the most recent episode of Movies with Mikey, which it's focused on Thanos as a character from Infinity War. And I don't really want to spoil it. Hopefully, if you're listening to this podcast, you have seen Infinity War at this point. But if you haven't, that's okay.
If you haven't, go check out our
Infinity
episode
War.
on it.
Yeah.
Episode number 20.
Was it really 20? Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Yep.
And so it takes a look at Thanos and some of the implications of Thanos' character in greater filmmaking, not necessarily just within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's a really good 20-25 minutes to sit down and watch, and it made me rethink a lot about Infinity War. I'm not going to say it made me like the movie less, but it pointed out some of the flaws that I never even thought to consider. And I love stuff like that takes something that I like and shows it to me in a different light, whether or not the light is good, or something I don't like and can kind of convince me to see the merits of it. And that's a lot of what Movies with Mikey does, is he sits down and he talks about something that he loves or something that's really, really important to him, and talks about the benefits of it and how positive it is and how it impacted him. This one, it's kind of heavy. It's very emotional. So if that's not your thing, then don't watch it. But if you liked Infinity War and you kind of want to get an interesting perspective on the main character in Infinity War, definitely check it out. That is Movies with Mikey. I believe the YouTube channel is called Film Joy.
I might have to check that out. Although I don't want to dislike Infinity War, so
you won't, I promise. But you will kind of rethink it a little.
Yeah, you mentioned to me a little bit what it's about off air, so I probably have a better idea than the audience, the listeners. But we don't want to spoil it. I'm sure the title will tell you what it is, right?
I think it's just called Thanos, but he does talk about it in the first minute or so.
Okay, cool.
So
awesome. Good YouTubing, guys. Good YouTubing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is the end of the episode, guys. Thank you for joining us. Chris, thank you for coming back again. And Andy, thank you for being on the show for the very first time.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling me when you needed somebody to help out. I feel honored. I like to assume I'm the first on your list. You don't actually have to tell me where I lie on your list of people that you call in a case of emergency. Mm-hmm. I just assume I'm
I can tell you this. you were the first person I asked.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Yeah, man.
It was another moment that I wasn't sure if you were done talking or if you were going to say something else.
See, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so much easier. We've done a couple episodes face-to-face. It's so much easier face-to-face. Unfortunately, Zach does not live around here, so it kind of requires digital. And the delay. And
you know who does live around here, though? Maybe. Possibly.
Taylor Poole?
Taylor Poole.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Chris, I appreciate how good you are at that, even though you're not part of our show.
I do what I can. I want to make it so it's like Zach didn't even leave, but I can't do an impression of him because apparently the only impression I can do is an accidental Morgan Freeman.
Do it.
Nope.
Yeah, no, it was
hard no.
Yeah, it has to be organic and not forced.
You did say accidental, but
it was terrifying.
Anyway, yes, Taylor Poole. He did our opening intro music. He does great work. Check him out at taylorpoolmusic.com. That's TAYLORPOOLE music.com. Chris, tell us where we can find your show.
Yeah, you can find Andy and I every Sunday. Well, at least me. Andy's occasionally there, but
if I'm not on camera, I'm behind the camera. Generally speaking.
Yeah. You can find us at twitch.tv/C Power Hour. We stream every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's when we stream Magic, and then we also stream video games throughout the week, often Saturday nights at 11:59 p.m.
Awesome. And of course, please check out the 'Cause We're Nerds website, CauseWe'reNerds.com. You can check out all the episodes, read more about us. I might even put up some pictures of our regulars, like Chris and maybe Andy over here, so you can see their beautiful mugs. And good place. Also, before I let you go, we are actively looking for user-submitted topics. We want to know what you would like to hear. So send us to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Gmail, wherever you can get in contact with us. If you have something that you want to hear us talk about, send it in. There's a very good chance we're going to do it. In fact, our topic for next week was submitted by a user, and I saw it like yesterday, and we're going to do it next week. So that's about as good a turnaround as we can get. So please do that for us.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you know, well, we're a podcast of the people.
Right. Of course.
Right. Thanks for listening to 'Cause We're Nerds. Stay up to date with all the nerdy news and podcast drops by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also leave us comments and feedback at causewe'renerds@gmail.com. That's CUZWERENERDS@gmail.com. And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, we would love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Next week, we'll give comic book newbies a primer on the hobby. Where should you start? Which company should you read? And is it worth getting into? Find out on next week's episode of 'Cause We're Nerds. And they all said together, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Got it.
Not together, but that's okay. See you next week, guys.
Bye.
Are you hot?
Always.